pleasure to be here and to meet you all and to talk a little bit about the vision that we've got for the future of business in Pudsey, for the economic plan we've got for Pudsey, and to support your brilliant local MP. We were elected first on the same day, almost just under 5 years ago, and I can tell you this, there are few people who badger ministers more than Stuart badgers ministers to get things done for their local area. And I think that you can see in the record that he's got here in Pudsey just how effective that has been. I was looking on the way up at the figures, at what's happened locally. It is extraordinary that across Yorkshire there have been more than 100,000 new businesses in the last 5 years. And specifically, here in the Pudsey constituency, unemployment has fallen by 55% since you gave this guy a job. And the number of apprentices has risen by over 3,000. It's doubled the amount that were there before. And this is part of a wider plan that we've got to make sure that Britain really gets motoring. And for me as the business minister, doing that is about supporting people who create jobs and create the prosperity that everybody wants to see right across the country. I think that we've got a fairly decent record in doing that, both nationally and clearly working here in Yorkshire. But we've also got a plan for what to do in the future. And I just wanted to tell a story about why I think this matters. I come from a small business background myself. I grew up in a family that ran a small computer software business. When you type your postcode into the internet and it brings up your address, we wrote that software. So I hope we've saved you some time with your online shopping over the years. And I grew up in this business, and there was a time about 20 years ago when we were building the business, but if we didn't have a check from a key supplier by the end of the week, because the economy wasn't going so well, then our business was going to fold. And my parents' jobs were both on the line, our house was on the line, and we employed about 20 people, and their jobs were all on the line too. And we knew that if this cheque didn't arrive by the Friday, we were going to go under. And we felt a deep responsibility to all the people who worked for us, but also our family was going to be in some trouble. And thankfully, the cheque did arrive just in time, and the business went on to flourish. But it left me, as a teenager as I was then, with a very deep scar and a sense that it is so important to make sure that the environment for business is strong. And I asked myself, how can it be that you've got a perfectly decent business, but because the wider economy went wrong, you nearly go bust with all the consequences that came from that? And that led me into being interested in the economy, and that led me into politics, because I realised that it's really in Westminster that those big decisions are made, and in politics that you can make things happen and you can support the growth of business. And so it's a huge honour now to be a business minister and to be able to try to make sure that others don't go through that same experience. And we've got this plan for stronger support for business and a stronger economy in the future. It's about spreading the growth that we've seen to make sure that it happens right across the country. You'll have heard of the Northern Powerhouse, which is our project to make sure that we get the infrastructure and the skills into the north of England in the same way that in decades past people have put that effort into London and the southeast. You'll have seen that the performance of the economy has been at its best in Yorkshire and the north east and the northwest. In fact, one of my favourite statistics at the moment, I'm sure you all have your favourite statistic, my favourite statistic is that Yorkshire created more jobs last year than the whole of France. Now there's lots of good things about that. We have a record And we have a plan, but crucially, I think, we have the values that underpin it. And this is important as the economy gets buffeted. It's about supporting people who work hard and do the right thing. It's about making sure that the growth that we have is inclusive and supportive of everybody. It's about making sure that it is the people who want to take a risk who get backed, and who have those strong values of something for something, not something for nothing, that we support. Those are the values that underpin the policies that we put in place. And crucially, they're working, but there's a lot more to do. And this comes down to what I'm asking of you. I'm here to hear directly from you of what we can do to make it easier for you to do business in your communities and across Pudsey and Yorkshire as a whole. We are in the middle of writing our manifesto right now, and I want to hear, what I'd love to do is come around the tables and hear very directly from you the answer to this question. What can we do to make it easier for you to do business, to create prosperity, and to create jobs? Because that is what we want to achieve. We have this goal of making Britain the best place in the world to start and grow a business, because we want ultimately Britain to be the most prosperous major nation upon earth. There is no reason why together we can't reach that goal, but it will take the support of business, it will take the support of everybody in this room, of every community in Britain and every business in Britain, and I want to hear your ideas so that we can go back, write that manifesto, make sure we get the details that you need right, so that we can help you to create the prosperity that everybody wants to see. Oh, and by the way, one last thing, if we can return this great MP for Pudsey along the way, then that will make the whole thing a hell of a lot easier. Thank you very much.
As the Member of Parliament for the Pudsey, Horsforth and Aireborough area, I spend a lot of time trying to go to various schools, meeting individual community groups, but also working with, going around small businesses and medium-sized businesses in the constituency that actually are the lifeblood of our economy in this area, who do some tremendous work. And the feedback I've had when I go around a lot is, A, they want to give me lots of messages that I then have to give to the ministers, and I try and do that as effectively as I can. But also that actually people have said they would welcome the opportunity to mix together as businesses, to be able to speak to each other and hopefully perhaps do business amongst yourselves, but also for the opportunity for you yourselves to meet ministers when they come to the constituency. So we are going to, this is the first event that we are holding to set up a business group for people to come along and hopefully exchange ideas, feedback to us so that we can feed back to ministers and to government.